March 22nd, Bangalore, Bharat, India. Today, from 6 to 6:15 p.m. was an initiative all across India for a mass Om chanting. And the mass Om chanting was dedicated to one key principle today. We are being afflicted by the COVID-19, which has gone rampant across the planet. And we know that the power of chanting, the power of vibration, because we are all a frequency and vibration. So, is it possible that we can neutralize the discordance of the energetics that are already prevalent over the last 2 months? So this initiative that had evolved today from 6 to 6:15 had the following. So this is what was conveyed. Realizing that 100 chanters can influence 10,000 people, 8,500 chanters will influence the world population, because it's the square of the number. And this has already been recorded and proven well over almost 50 years earlier. This power has the capacity to neutralize all discordant energies affecting humankind that has been self-inflicted by our own doing, irrespective of its origins. The power of Om, the eternal hum of the cosmos, is an innate vibration which will neutralize these discordant energies and restore the positive and coherent energies that will revive our planet. Today in Bharat, India, is such an initiative converging from 6 to 6:15 p.m. no matter where you are in the country and or the world. A divine mother calls. Om. So in recording the greater initiative as to how all this influence of meditators coming together across the world can be recorded, we go to our device, which is called a Biowell. It's a Biowell 2.0, and more data on the Biowell 2.0 can be obtained from gdvusa.org. So here we created a folder, and in this folder we connected the Biowell, and that's the Biowell 2.0, and that is an environmental sensor. And this environmental sensor is able to record the collective cumulative influence of the capacity of coherent waves, the influence of coherent waves in incoherence, and how can it negate, neutralize, or even possibly eliminate incoherence. These are some deeper scientific principles which we can save for another time period, but given what we have been doing over the last almost close to 30 years with such sensors, we began to gather information. And you can see that there is a rapid succession of information here that has many peaks and valleys all the way through the duration of the entire chant. So what we decided to do was start the study 30 minutes before 6 o'clock in the evening and continue it 30 minutes after 6:15 at the conclusion of the study. And then we would go and analyze the data. So this was all compiled and we began the study. After we began the study and we had all the data in, now we went ahead and got to analyze the data. And while we analyzed the data, here is what we found. we come across this particular parameter. This particular parameter is what we call intensity. Intensity is the level of photons. And the level of photons in relative units, RU, we can see that has a very, very steady with slight increases as we go on. And from folder number 7 is when we began the chanting, and we concluded at folder number 11. And we can see that there has been a very, very consistent pattern, energetic intensity pattern, so showing that the level of light was very consistent. Now we will go to the next parameter, which is energy. And energy is a measurement in joules. So this y-axis is in joules, and we can see that similarly it is also very steady. And from folder number 7 is when we began a meditation, to folder number 11 is when we concluded the meditation. There's been a very steady symmetry in the energy levels. Now we go and look at another parameter, which is a very key parameter here, which we call a standard deviation. Standard deviation is a scientific measurement that shows us exactly what is the level of coherence or incoherence. And we see higher the values, the higher the level of incoherence or instability. Lower the values, the higher the levels of stability. So again we come back to items number 7 to items number 11, and we can see that they are very, very steady in their values versus in the beginning, the first 30 minutes, and also in the last 30 minutes. So we see that this has definitely had an influence in the environment, which means that we are addressing deep space here. The next parameter is a very critical parameter again, which is called entropy. And entropy is degree of chaos, disorder in systems. And here we observe that in the beginning they were high, and then from when we began 7 to 11, it was absolutely at very, very low value. So the take home from here is that when humankind attains a higher vision, the lower vision disappears unto itself, which is actually the calling to what we all require to arise, awake, and attain, so that we create a highly qualitative living from the inside out. Aho to all.